how to manipulate like Johann Liebert, but in a positive way. There's nothing special about being born, not a thing. And this is the same for Johann Liebert, a superb manipulator who used his brains and charisma to keep people around him in line. Firstly, he wasn't any different from any human. He doesn't have any superpowers. No Getsuga Tenshou, no Super Saiyan, no Sage Mode, no Gear 5, none of these. What he has is human abilities, and yet he is considered one of the scariest villains of all time. He is a calculating machine with an icy demeanor, making him a formidable foe who always has the upper hand in any circumstance. And if you're watching this video, it's because you want the freedom of receiving desired outcomes and understanding what individuals will do before they do it. That is something I admire, since it demonstrates your willingness to invest in yourself for the future. Today, I'll show you how to become like Johann Liebert, a great manipulator who uses others to attain his goals. It is crucial to stress, however, that the purpose of this video is not to encourage harmful action. Though applying these tactics to others may be tempting, I urge you to use them only when absolutely required and not deliberately injure people like Johann does. Here is how to become like Johann Liebert. So, how exactly does Johann manipulate people? Johann drives his prey using various nasty psychological tools and approaches. However, we'll focus on the most notable ones today. Persuasion is the first one. As a psychological strategy, persuasion makes its case using emotional appeal and logical fallacies rather than rational reasoning. But why does Johann employ this particular tool? It's straightforward because it's incredibly effective. Johann, you see, utilizes it to cultivate loyal, obedient, and subservient followers. In episode 63, he persuaded serial killers to go against their principles to meet his wants. Renard is the first of the serial killers, and he tries to justify killing people by blaming them for their lack of morals. But even he confesses that the guy he killed for Johann left a horrible taste in his mouth because the person was a good citizen who did nothing wrong. Then there's the second serial murderer, who thought he needed to consume young girls' blood, preferably virgin's blood, to survive. But here's the strange part. The person he killed on Johann's behalf was not a virgin. In fact, she gave birth at the age of 17, and he was already aware of it. So what did he say when he was questioned about it? The same thing happened, and it left a very terrible taste. Finally, we have the final and most bizarre serial murderer, who claims to kill people who aliens order him to kill through some sort of message. This time, though, he claimed that he did not get a message from an alien but encountered one in person. Can you figure out who he's referring to? Yes, he is referring to Johann. At this point, it's very evident that Johann misled these men into renouncing their principles and killing for his gain. You must learn to master the skill of deception and manipulation if you want to be like Johann Liebert. You must grasp human behavior psychology and utilize this information to dominate others. To begin learning the art of deception, you must first recognize that people have inherent flaws and vulnerabilities that can be used to your advantage. Everyone has vulnerabilities, worries, and desires that can be exploited. You may find people's weak areas and manipulate them by learning to read their emotions, intentions, and behaviors, just like Johann did with the alien serial killer. Learning to lie successfully is one of the most fundamental components of mastering deceit. You must learn to build a false world that others will accept, whether by withholding or delivering misleading facts. To do this effectively, you must also be able to change your behavior and personality to the situation, modifying your behavior and character to meet the intended outcome. Manipulation is another essential ability to perfect if you want to be like Johann Liebert. You must be able to identify and apply the correct pressure points to influence people to persuade them to act in a certain way. When using deception and manipulation, it is also critical to establish emotional distance from others, because emotions make people susceptible. You may maintain control over any circumstance by repressing emotional responses and disguising them from others. Johann wants his victims to feel the most agony, loss, and suffering imaginable. Rather than simply killing someone, he prefers to watch them suffer until they commit suicide. He accomplishes this through the use of deception techniques known as gaslighting. So, what exactly is gaslighting? It's an emotional abuse in which the abuser purposely tries to erode the victim's sense of reality. The goal is to sow uncertainty and doubt in the victim's head, that they question their own memories and views. The victim may begin to question their sanity over time. Detective Lunge claims that Johann makes such an impression that he can persuade anyone to do anything by changing the fulcrum of one's identity. This is analogous to eliminating a map's coordinate axis. This is demonstrated in episode 29 when Johann uses gaslighting to persuade Richard to question his reality. Johann uses this method to get Richard to drink even though he is sober and striving to rebuild his life. Unfortunately, he falls into Johann's trap, giving Johann exactly what he needs, another dead victim with clean hands. General Wolf was his next victim. Johann prefers to destroy Wolf rather than physically kill him emotionally. After locating Johann and his sister, Wolf paid them a visit at the hospital, and when Wolf inquired about his condition, Johann replied, "You'll know very soon." But why is this so? Johann wanted Wolf to feel what he was experiencing, so he killed everyone close to Wolf, and I mean everyone. All the people he actually cared about and everyone who truly knew him, thereby destroying Wolf's identity. This significantly impacts Wolf, who explains it as if his name had been obliterated from existence. A cool and calculated demeanor is essential for becoming like Johann Liebert. It entails keeping a cool head in the face of adversity, while still being able to examine material objectively and create logical conclusions based on evidence. This trait enables Johann to stay focused on long-term goals, resist emotional distractions, and make strategic decisions that lead to success. Developing a cool and calculated manner necessitates a combination of mental and behavioral shifts. Begin by developing emotional detachment. Learn to observe them without allowing them to determine your behavior. This will assist you in being calm and collected even in difficult or emotionally charged situations. Work on improving your analytical and strategic thinking abilities next. Analyze data objectively, weigh evidence, and reach logical conclusions. Concentrate on viewing things from several angles, understanding underlying reasons and values, and forecasting the potential repercussions of various decisions and actions. Finally, practice keeping focused on your long-term goals instead of getting caught up in short-term distractions. Identify and capitalize on prospective possibilities to achieve success. Anticipate problems and devise efficient solutions before they occur. You can retain a clear focus on your aims and accomplish achievement with ease if you do so. And lastly, be careful. To be like Johann Liebert, you must always be mindful of the possibility of others betraying and undermining you. This entails being vigilant and cautious in all interactions with people and not unquestioningly trusting anyone. Johann was constantly looking for potential betrayal from people around him, knowing anyone could turn on him anytime. People are capable of dishonesty and treachery, whether motivated by self-interest, envy, or simply because they have different aims or ideals than you. It is critical to be aware of this truth to mimic Johann's thinking. You must always maintain vigilance in your contact with others, especially with those who appear trustworthy. To establish this mindset, you must first understand human behavior thoroughly. This entails reading people's emotions, motives, and goals, and utilizing that knowledge to your benefit. Understanding why individuals act the way they do allows you to foresee potential conflicts or betrayals and take action to avoid them. In addition, you must take aggressive steps to defend yourself and your interests. Setting up contingency plans in case of betrayal, forming networks of allies and supporters who can assist you in times of need, or developing a reputation for being formidable and indestructible could all be part of this. By adopting these precautions, you will always be in the top 1%, and you will always be one step ahead of the game. That's it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to check out this next one.